And we are live. Good afternoon, everyone watching us, everyone that would join us later, and particularly to my amazing panelists this afternoon. My name is Bumi Bossade, and I'm here again bringing you an amazing topic that has to do with youth and teens within our community. Today, we'll be talking about youth engagement and involvement and its benefits within the community. We have amazing panelists here. They have been doing amazing work within the community. And it's just amazing the way people put so much, without having to expect anything, right? So for me, it is one thing that is very, very dear to my heart. And that's why I feel we need to talk about this because as adults, I think we're doing a good job. But with the kids, I think we're not doing enough to get them involved within the community. My name is Bumi Bossade. Thank you, everyone that will join us later and will watch this video. At this time, I would ask my panelists to please introduce yourselves, and I will start with Naomi. Please go ahead, Naomi, and introduce yourself.
Hi there, my name is Naomi Ogunjabi. I'm a youth ambassador for LSI. I'm here to talk to you today about community youth involvement. Upon moving to Hamilton about 2 years ago, I got way more involved, especially, and during COVID, I did things online, but I didn't get much of a chance to really get out into the community and grassroots work and organizations. But now I'm able to do so, and through that, I've created so many connections and opportunities for myself, and I'm glad to introduce that to all of you today.
Thank you, Naomi. Thank you so much. And also have Fikayo introduce himself as well.
Okay, so hey everyone, my name is Fikayo. First of all, it's truly an honor to be on this call. I'm excited for the conversation and to be with amazing panelists, Lady Abba and Naomi. So what I do right now is I run a not-for-profit called Project Impacting Lives. And what we do is we distribute care packages to people facing homelessness in Toronto. So we started in 2019 with 20 of these care packages. And last year we did over 10,000 of these care packages, but not just in Toronto. So we've gone on to distribute them in Waterloo, in Ottawa, in London, Ontario, and also in Hamilton, as well as Toronto. So that has been amazing. And we have a lot of young people that volunteer with us. I started it when I was in York University in the dormitory when I was 20, and most of the team were under 25, right? But we also have people that volunteer that are, working at different organizations, and we do a lot of partnerships with both community organizations as well as corporate organizations as well. So
Thank you so much, Fikayo. Amazing, amazing things you do. When I heard about your story, I'm like, I need to meet this guy. Like, we're still going to talk about it. What was that thing that informed you? Because I heard you started this while you were an international student. Am I correct?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that very soon. Let me also allow, we have a parent in the house. I'm always excited when we have parents in the house because it shows that our parents are also, with us and they are aligned with what we're doing. So good afternoon, Ma. Please introduce yourself to us. I think you're muted.
Imagine that. We still have to say you're muted or mute. But thank you so much, Bumi. It's truly a pleasure to be here. And yes, to be with amazing, amazing young minds doing amazing things. Fikayo, truly a pleasure. Naomi, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me join in this conversation. So I would tell people that banking is my profession, but community is my passion. And I'm happy to say that CMP actually supports youth. We do a lot of events. Even though CMP, Council of Nigerian Professionals, for people that don't know about it, moving on to Council of African Professionals. Even though we focus on professionals, but the point is a professional is still a parent. A professional is a mother. A professional is a business owner. And that is why it's important to ensure that the holistic family is supported. And so, whether you're a professional, whether you have kids in school, whether you're parents, we have something for everybody. Because, the more of us that are comfortable, the more the community will prosper. And that is really what we focus on. And ACCH is African Caribbean Council of Alton, because I live in the Alton region, and we are into advocacy, supporting youth. There's a lot going on, so we try to be the bridge between the leaders, between political leaders and the community. I'm
you.
not sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, please go ahead.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm fine. Yeah,
Okay,
thank
okay.
you.
So thank you so much, Ma. I will get to you. I have a specific question for you, which we would get to shortly. But I want to start with Naomi. Now, I have watched Naomi for a while, and she amazes me. And she amazes me because I don't understand where she gets the strength from. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I know that everybody cannot be like Naomi, right? But if only we can help our youths, our teenagers to be just 1% of Naomi, it would be spectacular. So I know I'm sure people are wondering, what am I talking about? I'm going to allow her to tell us okay, let me start with this question. Naomi, when did you begin to live in Hamilton?
So I moved to Hamilton. It would have been the end of 2022, like November.
Okay, so that was shortly after COVID, am I correct?
Yes.
And before then, where were you? What region were you
Halton.
living?
So the Halton region.
Okay, you were in Halton region. So what extent is what you do right now within the Hamilton community? If you want to give us a brief summary.
For sure.
Okay, before you answer the question, just let me go back a little bit. So how many organizations do you currently volunteer with? Let me ask that first.
That's actually, I don't know. So I currently volunteer for HCCI, the Good Shepherd, Hamilton Black History Council, Hamilton Refuge, Sisters in Sync, Bethel Church, the Young Politicians of Canada, the Black Youth Mentorship Program, the Canadian Cancer Society, my school's diversity committee, and I think that's about it.
Okay. So now you guys would understand what I meant when I said everybody cannot be like Naomi, but if we can get our kids to even be 1% of her. So Naomi, tell me or tell us, what informed you to be so much involved within the community?
So for me, it kind of started off as a passion for advocacy towards anti-Black racism. I always was fascinated with it from the 7th, 8th grade. I won a speech competition for a speech on systemic racism. I was like 13 writing speeches about things that I barely understood myself, but I could feel when I walked the halls of my school. I knew that these issues were integrated into everything, that equity was an aspect of everything we saw around us, whether it was shades of concealer in shoppers or how my hair was referred to in the school hallways. I knew it showed up everywhere, right? And so for me, that was just something I immediately wanted to change. I wanted to have an impact in. And so it started from there. My 8th grade teacher, Mrs. James, shout out to her. She inspired me to write that speech, and she associated with almost everything that I was doing. And she kind of encouraged me to further myself and get involved in these things. And then unfortunately, COVID happened. So everything went online. I went into high school and my classes were online. All the volunteer work I was doing started online. So from then I was kind of doing like environment work and anti-Black racism work, which was all involved like through meetings, discussing policy with local politicians, things of that sort. So this would have been like 9th grade, which was about 3 years ago for me. As time went on, last year, grade 11, I transferred to St. Thomas More, and I had the opportunity to work with my Black graduation coach. So in the Hamilton board, the Catholic board, we have 3 Black graduation coaches in our board. We have one at St. Thomas More, Bishop Ryan, and Cathedral. So I think that with that position comes a responsibility to inspire students to take change, right? And so with last year, our Black graduation coach was Ashley Montague. And so from Miss Ashley, I was literally introduced to almost every single organization that I still work with today. She inspired me to get involved. She knew a lot of people at higher levels of these organizations, which helped me to be able to volunteer at higher capacity than I should have even been allowed to at some points. From there, we kind of started these discussions and we brought them into the school classroom as well. So with that came risk with teachers and feedback from staff within the school, which I personally didn't mind, but I could see that it obviously upset other students with how they were approached. So eventually, we were given the opportunity to work with our superintendent to create the first professional development workshop on anti-Black racism, which was completely led by students. So I got to be one of the youth leaders on that. And basically, it was a PowerPoint presentation that was pre-recorded about an hour and a half long that was displayed to all the staff in the Hamilton Wentworth Catholic District School Board. And so from there was a great amount of feedback, good and bad, from teachers. Some of them felt that racism didn't exist in our halls and in our board. Others felt it was great work. With that came more opportunities to do more because my name kind of started getting brought into these conversations. And so with that came also recognition from other organizations. So recently, back in Black History Month that just passed, I was asked by the Hamilton Black History Council to give a short speech on youth empowerment. And for that, I was given like $100 stipend for giving like a 2-minute speech. So that was great. Things like that. I was connected to Sisters in Sync, where I work closely with Joel Cabby-Soso. And now I've been offered an internship for the summer with them as well. I received a certificate for Black Youth Leadership. John C. Holland, I received the Dempsey Scholarship for Civic Leadership. And from Sisters in Sync, I received a Youth Leadership Scholarship as well.
Thank you so much. So I need not say anything again when I say that I don't know where she gets a strength from. Like I said, I've watched her from afar. Then I had to actually approach Naomi and say, please, can you come on board with me? Because I need people like you to show to our youths and teenagers out there that these things are doable, right? Because it takes one person, right, to make that change. It takes one person to encourage others and make them feel comfortable and feel that they can actually do it. And like I said earlier, everybody cannot be Naomi. Everybody cannot volunteer or get involved in 7, 8, 9, 10, small not-for-profit community within the community. But even if it's just one, I was going to get to the point where I was going to ask Naomi to tell us the benefits. I know she had mentioned some of those benefits, but we'll get back to that. Now I have a question for Fikayo. Fikayo, like I said, when I heard your story, it was so amazing because I know how it can be. I came into Canada as a permanent resident and I went to school immediately I got here. And I knew the stress I went through that time. I wasn't thinking of anybody else. I was just thinking of how do I do this school thing and get it done and over. And I heard of a gentle young man that came in as an international student with all the baggages that comes with that. And he wasn't just thinking about himself. He was thinking about the community he found himself in. And he came from my dear country, Nigeria, where we do not do a lot of community engagement things. So please tell us, How did that happen? What informed you to think of, giving back to your community at that time?
So thank you for that question. I would say, now that I think about it, in Nigeria, my parents used to do outreaches, right? So my mom used to do skill acquisition program for women, right? First of all. So it's something at that time, I think it's called LEPE, right? At that time, and I would see her bringing on facilitators to teach women how to sew, how to knit, how to bake, things like that, right? And then there's something called Let's Go Fishing that I would see my parents do, and I'll follow them for those things. So when I got here and I'll see people on the streets, for me, it was like I've seen that growing up, how to help, right? And that's one thing I'll tell parents on the call, that be the example, right? Because now that I think about it, I've actually never made this connection that my parents were not necessarily like, oh, you should do. No, but they would just do all this. They would do community work and they would bring me along and I would do that. So when I was no longer like with my parents, when I was living on my own, seeing that, I was like, I know how this works, right? And I really wasn't, honestly wasn't like, okay, let me do community work, no, or anything like that. It was more of, let's help out. Like, people are sleeping on the streets, let's help, right? Like, because I was in dormitory and I would go downtown, and it was during my birthday actually, right? And it was more of, people are sleeping on the streets, okay, let me go to Dollarama. You could get socks, or you could go to Walmart and get gloves. It's super, super cold in Canada. And I used to, have birthday parties. And honestly, I was tired of birthday parties, right? And now I actually had one this year. So maybe it's coming back. But at that time, I was like, you know what, I'd done birthday parties and I was over with it. And so God gave me this idea of, why not go and get this stuff and give it to people. And so for my birthday, I just told my friends, instead of having a party, let's just go and get this product, right? And I have to give a huge shout out to my friends, because I've never gone out to distribute stuff by myself. I've always gone with my friends, right? And I've always gone with people around me. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm thinking, or like, you make it sound really great and brilliant and amazing, but it was more of, let's just, like, this is fun. And that's one thing I tell people at PIL. We want to make sure we are having fun while giving back. We don't want it to be like, oh, I have to go and do this now. No, like, let's make it fun, right? Like, even till yesterday, we were at a games night, right? And it wasn't only the members of PIL, right? But some of the members of PIL were there. So we are actually friends and we actually connect, right? So we get ideas of ways to even help, the community in that way. But when we went from 20 to 100 of these care packages, I was having exams, right? And it was people that started reaching out to their photographer, to their mom, to their dad, to their cousins, and they started donating money, right? And then they planned the whole thing, right? And then when I finished my exams, because I was telling them, like, at that time, I know it sounds really small, but at that time, 100 care packages was like, first of all, where are we going to find the people? Where are we going to get the money? Like, what are we, we're students, we're just figuring stuff out, right? And then it came together and we didn't even know what we were doing, right? So we will walk on the streets, no, like, where are the people, right? Like, where would you find them, right? But we had to do some research. The next year, we had to do research. We had to start connecting with different homeless shelters. And then we now partner with them. And in the homeless shelters, we know that, okay, they can't fit everybody, right? So we make sure that we have to support both the people in the shelters and on the street as well. So one thing I would say to anybody that actually just wants to start volunteering or doing community work is actually seeing, okay, what is the need that I am seeing that I am most passionate about? Because till yesterday, when I was on the subway and I saw someone that was homeless, it still pricked my heart, right? It's still like it tears me up inside. And we all have that one thing. It may not be homelessness for you, it may be climate change, it may be food insecurity, it may be something different, right? But whatever that is, make sure you don't let that feeling go and try to make, even if it's a tiny little change in that thing, right? It doesn't have to be something, and you don't have to distribute 10,000 care pack. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm doing this massive thing. But impacting life starts one destiny at a time, right? And we started with just 20 people. That was it, right? And now we have so many volunteers and all these other things, and now like it's a registered non-for-profit. But it started off with this guy roaming on the streets with products, trying to give stuff out. So there was no structure in the beginning, nothing of that. And you don't need that to even start. You just need to have the heart, the hunger, and the passion to make people's lives better. That's the most important thing. And you find that opening, find a way to actually impact lives, and then you start. That's it.
Thank you so much, Fikayo. That was a lot. And while you were talking, it just juggled my brain. And I remembered, and when you said, as parents, begin to do it because your kids are watching, right? Lead by example. It made me remember when I was in Nigeria. I am also very passionate about community engagement, involvement. And at that time, we would, with my husband, my kids were pretty young. We would go to every month. We decided that as a family that we were going to take a portion of our pay and help anybody we can. So we found two orphanage at those, at the time it was Heart of Gold in Surulere, and there's one in Yaba called Red Cross. So we'd buy diapers and all those things and take it there. Then we'll take our kids and we'll make our kids stay there and play with those homeless kids. We'll be there for like an hour and we'll make sure they stay and play with the kids and all that. And when we got to Canada, I just like it's just in me. And I started doing all those things. Whenever I heard about community service, I just want to find out, okay, what can I do? How can I be of help? And where am I going? Like my son right now, sometimes I have to tell him, can you please take it easy?
Wow.
Like it's too much. You're taking on too much. You can't do this. Like 2 months ago, okay, at the beginning of the year, he came and said he was going to go to Dominican Republic to help build a borehole.
Oh, wow.
Dominican Republic. Where did that come from? Then he insisted I follow him for the information session, which I did.
Oh.
And I wasn't comfortable because it was going to be with a group of strangers that I did not know. So I told him no. Right. Mm-hmm. And my son came back and I said no. And I said I couldn't afford it. That was what I said. Then he came back to me and said, if you can afford it, can I raise the funds myself? And I knew it was a couple of thousands of dollars. And I was in my head, where will you get it from? So I said, yeah, if you can raise it yourself, then fine. Okay. And you know what he did? He took my phone and took all my friends' contacts and took all my husband's friends' contacts, composed an email and sent it to them, a text message, and say, Auntie, Uncle, I'm going on a trip. I need so thousand. Any amount is not too small. And to cut the long story short, he was able to raise almost $5,000 himself. I did not give him one couple. So at that point, I couldn't say no anymore because the caveat was I didn't have money if you can raise the money yourself.
Wow.
Right? And he went for this event all by himself. It was away. I was scared. But you know what? After a while, and I saw the pictures, I was amazed. They were carrying bricks and sand and, laying the bricks and, doing construction work. And for me, kind of, when I was complaining to a friend, the friend said to me, Bumi, an apple doesn't,
Fall
how do
far
I
from
argue
a
with it?
tree.
And you know, when the friend said that, then it just really dawned on me
Mm,
that okay, these kids are actually watching.
yeah.
They are watching. They see what you do, and they also want to do same.
Mm,
So it's an amazing thing when I hear this amazing stories, and that will take me to our parent because it only ties in exactly into what
it
I have just
is.
said now.
Mm.
Like Lady Abba, please tell us, Ma. Just tell us, how did you get the kids to begin to follow you in this community service work?
Thank you so much, Naomi, Fikayo. Seriously, I won't say I'm amazed. I'm just super proud of you guys. You are amazing. And yes, you are an epitome. You are a role model. And I'm happy that we're having this conversation. I'm happy that a lot of people will hear, parents, youth included, and they'll be able to take, something from it. So for me in my house, I am Abashewa.
I hope you guys understand what that means.
I will say it in English. In my house, what I say goes. I've been through life. I was a spoiled child. My father loved me rotten. But when he died, I realized life is not as I thought it was. He gave me too many options. He gave me too much free reign. I decided I'm not going to do that with my kids. I decided I will push them until they get to a certain place and then they can make their decisions themselves. And so when we started all these organizations, even before we started, to Fikayo's point, when I came to Canada, I did not know that people stay on the streets. I did not know that people don't have a place to stay. So when I was working in Brampton, I learned about Knight's Table. So I used to go with my husband. We still have pictures. We still go every year with my husband and my two kids. They were young, and they will see young people like them that are going in there to eat. For people that don't know Night's Table, it's a place where hot meal is provided 365 days a year for anybody that wants to eat. And they can also get provision and food stuff and all that. So we always, I mean, it's a no-brainer. They know mommy is not going to listen to, I can't do it. On Saturdays, our day starts at 9:30, and I cannot get up from my seat until 12:30 because we have language school, we have coding classes in the morning that CMP does. And in the evenings, most of the time, by 6 p.m., we have events. And my sons will open the PowerPoint presentation and be ready. They help us with reading the land acknowledgement and things like that. So they set everybody in CMP knows them. Wherever I go, they go. My big boy is in Scotland right now, and I think I mentioned this to you. He's doing 2-year law after his degree in Canada. And when he got admitted, he was actually given £6,000 sterling as grant because of his community work. When I started community work, I did not know that there are accolades in community work. I just felt there's a need. Let's do it. Shikena. But then the accolades start coming in. And I will say that, you know what? You can see, when I saw Naomi talk and I saw Fikayo talk, one thing that kept coming at me that I keep seeing from them is the passion. They're passionate about it. They truly care. Because, when you ask people, how do you do it? It's not because it's a job. It's no longer a chore. It's no longer a big deal. You just do it because you know it has to be done, because you have the passion for it. And it does not, you don't feel like you're doing anything anymore because it's part and parcel of you. And that's what I want to say. And to your point, it's so important for parents to lead by example. It's not about do as I say, don't do as I do. It is what you do that your kids see. My young boy knows that he must wake up. That's why I don't wake up until 9 a.m. on Saturday. That's really the time I sleep in, because the minute my feet is on the ground, it is go, go, go. And my kids know that. They know they have to join. I tell them my story. I tell them how I suffered, and I don't want them to suffer. And we know whether we like it or not. It's not about what we do for ourselves, but the impact we're able to make. We're talking about, touching lives. Seriously, I always tell somebody, if I'm able to impact just one person, my job is done. And I'm happy that God has made it possible for me to be able to impact as many people as possible, for us to impact ourselves. We have a lot of volunteers now that are passionate. Imagine somebody doing classes at 9:30. We're not paying them for crying out loud, but they come day in, day out to do the job. So I'm thankful. Again, if you do it and children see that you actually come from a place of care, from a place of empathy, they will see it. But if it is just, fluff, they will also see it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. I totally agree with everything that you've said. We all have re-echoed the importance of us parents do these things. It's important that they see us do it. And to be honest, I think right now we're out there. I see a lot of Nigerians, and I'm so proud of what the pockets community we're building, the community work we're doing here and there. But I also believe that now, looking at the environment where we're in, there's a little bit of laxity with the kids. An average child wants to stay on weekends probably and just play computer games and be on YouTube and don't want to be bothered, right? So sometimes it takes us also not to only do the work and allow them see us, but also to pull them into the work itself. And how can we do this, right? How can we begin to help them find interest in community involvement and engagement? I tell people you don't have to start with community itself. You can even start with your church, with your mosque. I know most of the churches we attend, they have one thing or the other doing, and they ask for people to come in to help. And we're looking at the fact that, oh, my child is just 5, 6, let the child just stay at home. No, I take my daughter whenever I'm going. Sometimes when it's even an organization, I send an email and say, I know that you say you need from age 18. My daughter is 12, she's 11, but can she come with me, please? She's very smart. I always end my email with that. She's very smart, so you don't have to bother about her. And most times I get a yes. Why not? Please come with her. And in the first, when I tell her about it, she's always reluctant and not happy, and she's dragging her feet. But I found out that when we get there, the next 30 minutes, she's the one helping to pick this and carry this bag. And mom, can I do this? Can I do that? So that's also a way we can kind of get them involved in community service as well. Now, I have another question for Naomi. I know you had mentioned while you were talking earlier that you kind of had support from the school, right, in helping build the community where you are involved in. So aside from school, what other support do you feel? Let's assume there's a young adult or teenager looking or watching this program right now and wants to begin to take part in community service within the community where this individual is. What other support, what information or resources do you feel would be helpful in this regard?
So I have to say, in this day and age, social media, right? And I think there's so many opportunities that I have personally discovered through social media that didn't always come from those connections I had built in person, but rather connecting with someone on LinkedIn, following an Instagram page, keeping up with a website. You know what I like? Things like that. You'd be shocked to just be scrolling and be like, oh, participate in this workshop, receive a $200 honorarium at the end. Things like that. Like you could be scrolling Instagram, you'll see, oh, participate in this research survey, be connected to a project, things like that. And so honestly, for me, like it was only because my parents do their work in the community, like they volunteer at the church, they do their thing, but they aren't nearly as involved to the extent that I am. So it was never really like there were people around me that wanted to do the same things, or like even my sister, I would drag her along to these things and be like, you have to do this, like I'm going to Ottawa next year, like you have to take over, right? And so in these spaces, like obviously, like she's seen as my little sister, but I want her to be seen as me next year. So being able to just explore the internet and find these opportunities on your own, simply based on the ones that you did have through schoolwork, through connections, whatever it is, or just scrolling LinkedIn and just connecting with random people who have similar interests with you, just things like that, even Facebook, whatever it is. I always say social media for sure.
Thank you for talking about social media. I totally agree with you, because also what that does now is it helps kind of direct you to what you have interest in, right? So it's not like someone is forcing something on you as a teenager or young adult. I remember when I saw Sisters in Sync. I can't remember how it came on my Instagram profile. I just saw it. I'm like, oh, okay, this looks interesting. I did my research. I scrolled through. I went to their page. I went to their website. Then I saw Naomi on it. I'm like, perfect. So I called her and like, I want Michelle to join this group. And unfortunately, she was young. I think it was from age 14 or 15, and she was 12 or 11 then. But there was an opportunity for volunteering, and I saw it. I'm like, can she please join? And she went, and she was happy. She actually went with her friends, and they were happy, to have taken part in that project. And just to also say, because she took part in the project, there was an award that came up last year, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to get her nominated for this award. And even though she didn't win, she was recognized for all these little things that she did. And she was 12 at that time. And she was so excited that she got, awards and recognition from the premier and the likes and all that. So yes, I would say that social media is one powerful tool that can also be used to find these opportunities. Now to Fikayo, I know you've told us about what you do and how you started, but I also want you to tell us about the benefits. I heard about that big awards that you got sometimes ago because of this community work. So tell us a little bit about it, and how does it feel?
So I would say the benefits on the day of. So, okay, to the glory of God, I got the Ontario Medal for Young Volunteers, and that's the highest honor a young person can win in Ontario. And to the glory of God, I'm the first Nigerian to get it. And my own personal goal is that more Nigerian youth get this honor, right? So every single year you have 12, I want to say Nigerians.
Amen.
12 young people between the age of 15 to 24, right, that gets this award, right, every single year. So on the day of, like, I couldn't, my head was, I was like, what is going on? Like, I can't believe it, and but now I'm like, okay, there's work to do, because I don't want to be the last Nigerian that wins this, right? So for me, it's all about having, that's what success looks like for me right now, is more Nigerians winning this, and not only Nigerians but Africans, right? Because I don't want to say I'm the first African, but I think I am, right? But I was the only Black person that won the award on that day, and that allowed me to know that there's more work to be done, right? And it's not because there are not a lot of Black youth volunteering, but we just need to speak up more about what we are doing, right? So that's the first thing I'll say about the feeling. Now, the benefits, to be honest, I've made lifelong friends from volunteering, right? And I know people that have become lifelong friends because of volunteering, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is it gives you a lot of fulfillment. I will not lie, right? I feel like my life has a lot of meaning. I know that, okay, I'm on this planet for a reason, and people are smiling because I'm alive, right? And that makes me like very, very, very like happy, just to know that, okay, you're here for a reason. And honestly, being the founder of PIL has also given me a lot of skills. So I've learned project management. So I work in a tech company right now as a project manager. But how did I get those skills? It was through PIL. Because as the founder, you have to run, and Lady Abba can speak to this. You learn, you have to wear all the hats, right? Now, it's also taught me a lot about people management, because you have people reporting to you, because you can't make, you can do maybe 20 care packages on your own, but if you're getting to 10,000 in different cities, that's a lot of project management, right? And you need to have people in London and Waterloo and not reporting to you, right? So you need to create systems and structures, right? And that has made me go, okay, I could be a people manager. So even in my role in the corporate space, right, I'm not currently a people manager, but I know I can do it, and there's proof that I can do that. So these are some of the benefits. And so I started really volunteering while I was in university, but I know even from just hearing Naomi speak, and a lot of times we give like recommendation letters for people that are going to do their masters, or even people that are trying to get into university from high school. So, and I think you need volunteering hours while you're in high school. So it helps with that as well. So there's no minus from volunteering. So there are so many benefits, honestly. And you get to create lasting memories, and you get to inspire people. And you get to know that, okay, I'm making a positive impact in your community, right? And you can always speak about that. Because I imagine me talking to my children and saying, okay, like this is what we did at this time, right? And I can remember there's a guy named George, right? And we were walking on the streets, and there was a time a lot of people were giving me backlash and saying that Project Impacting Lives wasn't really helping people, right? Because what we do is we distribute care packages, so we don't put people in homes, right? And it let me know that, okay, we're not in the housing business, we're in the love business. And we're letting people know that we care about them, we love them, we respect them, and we see them as human beings, not just people facing homelessness, but as human beings. And so there was a time I was actually thinking of shutting down PIL, right? And then I had a conversation with this guy named George, because I was like, okay, let's actually ask someone that is a recipient of what we're doing. Let's ask someone that's facing homelessness. And by the time I had the conversation with him, he was like, what? Like, you should. He made us go from 150 care packages to 1,500 care packages in 1 year, because he started giving us strategies. He was telling us about lip balm. We should add to it. And I never even thought about that. And that's one thing we do till today. This year, by the grace of God, in December, we're going to be distributing care packages in the winter. And in the summer, in August, by the grace of God, we're going to be distributing our summer care packages. And we're going to be celebrating our 50th anniversary in July. But before we start all this distribution, we're going to go to people on the streets. We're going to speak to people that work with people facing homelessness in shelters. And we're going to ask them, right, what are the products you need right now? So that experience let me know that even in business in general, when you're serving a customer, when you're serving people, you have to get customer feedback and ask them, is this helpful? How can this be more helpful? Do you still need this? Because what people needed 5 years ago may not necessarily be what they need now, right? So it's the greatest thing I've gotten from volunteering is the fulfillment. That's number one. Second thing, making lifelong friends. And the third thing, just having access to really cool people in life is giving me a lot of that.
Yes. I thank you for explaining that and talking about that, because I know that the community where we are right now, they take community involvement and engagement itself very seriously. Like, if you look at most of the scholarships, the awards, the grants, that you see out there. You would see grades. Yes, yeah, they would have, oh, maybe you have 75, 85 average. Then the next thing you would see is definitely they will ask you about how have you impacted your community. I have never seen one that does not have that requirement. Now, I tell parents that have come to me sometimes and say, oh, how did Michelle get this? How did that do that? And I'm like, you can't get these kids sit down at home and expect to have access to things like this. You have to get them involved. And I know that is as simple as right now we have a lot of not for profit within the Nigerian community and African community as a whole. And this is also a call out to them. Just like Lady Abba just said, create an opportunity for the youth as well within your organization. Let them come in and help with setup. Let them come in and help with registration. Let them come in and help with, having to get people in, having to interview people, have, this youth volunteer within your media team, within, things like that they would love, because the truth is, an average young adult teen, I'm sorry, Naomi, they don't want to sit down and listen to you for 2 hours talking. They get bored. So look for those aspects that they would find interesting. I'm sure if you ask a team right now to come and manage social media for an event your not-for-profit is handling, they would be so excited to do so, right? Ask them to come and interview dignitaries coming for your event. They will be so excited to do so. These are ways they can also give back to the community. So I know that when they begin to get to that stage, when they're applying for all these things, community engagement, community involvement is one very important thing that they need. So Naomi, I will circle back to you again. Like you've told us about having access to some scholarship because of this thing that you do within the community. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Mm-hmm. So while you were discussing, I literally just had the idea to pull up my personal statement that won me the John C. Holland Award. So it reads, the Damty Civic Leadership Scholarship holds profound significance to me as it recognizes the unique opportunity it provides for aspiring Black leaders like myself. My diverse portfolio of experiences, accomplishments, and even future goals make me a compelling candidate for the scholarship, considering my dedication to civil engagement and social change within Hamilton. A defining accomplishment in my journey was leading the first student-led anti-Black racism professional development workshop in HWCDSB, which sparked transformative change. I also was allowed the opportunity to speak at a press conference that highlighted the importance of EDI work in Ontario schools. Both activities exemplify my dedication to addressing the significant racial issues within our community and thus my proactive approach. My participation in organizations and clubs such as the Canadian Cancer Society Youth Troop, Hamilton Mountain Youth Council, the Diversity Committee, the Hamilton Black History Council, Hamilton Refuge, and Good Shepherd further emphasize my wholehearted commitment to making a positive impact, particularly through the lens of Black leadership. My ongoing achievement of 1,000+ volunteer hours is not to fill a quota, but rather a conscious effort to actively contribute to the community of Hamilton. Serving as a mentor for the Black Youth Mentorship Program under HCCI has allowed me to further appreciate the vital role of civic engagement, especially for people of color. Representing ourselves is paramount, and as leaders, we must both demand the changes we seek and exemplify those changes through our actions. Regarding my future, I aspire to enter the field of law where I will be able to instigate meaningful systemic change. To conclude, my experiences, accomplishments, and future goals align seamlessly with the objectives of this scholarship. I'm eager to continue the work I'm doing, and I'm sure that this scholarship will further empower me to make an even more substantial impact. So, that was my personal statement. Nothing in there spoke about my 85+ average or anything regarding my schoolwork or my academics, but rather the things I do and why I do them. For me, it has never been about the hours. I have over 500 undocumented hours. It's never been about the hours. It's never been about the awards. It's never been about the money, but rather the fact that I wanted to see real change for youth of color in Hamilton, right? And it goes so much more beyond that, because I feel that sometimes there are aspects of equity that go unseen. People are convinced that there aren't racism in these schools, in these hallways, in everywhere we walk. But at the end of the day, when you walk through society, you are viewed as a young Black person, right? And there's going to be implications and assumptions and stereotypes that are associated with that. And my ultimate goal is to disprove them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So Naomi just kind of nailed it on the head for me. Like I just said it, like it's not about grades. It's yes, grade is important. Parent, don't get me wrong. Please make sure your kids have perfect grades. Yes, it's important, but I know, and I know what I'm talking about. It's not just about grades. And I know though an average African Nigerian, we have this funds, we can afford to, send our kids to school and pay the fees and all that. But I also know that it's a relief if you're able to get a 10,000 or 15,000 just because, right, of your kids' fee, because they're being proactive and being engaged within the community that they find themselves in. So please, this is just kind of us coming in to tell parents, inform them, let them know how important it is, to begin to get our kids involved within the community as young as they can. And for me, I feel the earlier you begin to get them involved, the better. Having a 6-year-old or 7-year-old go with you for activities and, just go there and say, okay, hand out this doll or hand out this, this shit and do this on the behalf of whatever you're going for is a good way to start. As they begin to grow, they begin to find their interest and begin to build on it. One last word from Lady Aber. I wouldn't be giving you a specific question, but what advice do you have for parents within our community, and whatever you feel you want to also say to the people that would listen to this and people that are watching out there?
Thank you so much. Seriously, I'm just mesmerized by you guys. Naomi, wow, right on. I'm going to be connecting with you personally. I'll ignore that your father on the side. Don't worry. And Fikayo, I'm on your case. But seriously, to parents, you know what? If you are volunteering, your children need to know you're volunteering, and you need to carry them along. Period. I'm a Christian. Even the Bible says that stupidity is in the heart of a child, and it is with some strong words, some what the Canadian government is not going to say, that we help them, and we don't necessarily. I know our generations don't do that, but we gotta use those strong words to bring them along, to let them know that there is life beyond life, right? There's an essay competition, if you don't mind me saying it.
Yes, please go ahead. And thank you. Before you say that, thank you so much for being gracious to us. Lady Aber allowed the LSI Lifting Stripes Initiative ambassadors to apply for this essay competition, even though at that time it was closed. So thank you so much for that exception.
Yeah. So whom much is given, much is expected. They're doing a lot of things. Why not, right? So this essay competition is something that we've been doing for the past 5 years. It's actually for youth. It is for students from grade 9, I believe, from grade 9 to undergraduate. They write an essay. We give them a topic. They write an essay. They submit it, and we celebrate them during an event that we call Black History Event. And our Black History event in CMP is happening on June 8th, 2024. Because yes, we're celebrated as Blacks in February, but you and I know that we're exotic every day, every day of the year. So we stopped doing Black History event in February. Last year we did it in April. This year we're doing it in June. So if we have any students that want to volunteer, reach out to us. You can ask for a contact from Bumi, and you can come and volunteer during this period. The theme for this year is a celebration of youth and culture. You're going to be meeting indigenous people. You're going to be meeting people from different walks of life, and you're going to be seeing a lot of cultural events. There's going to be games. I don't know if anybody knows what Ayo is. There's Ayo, there's Ludo, there's Snake and Ladder, all those
I know
traditional.
what Ayo is.
That's good. My son is even beating me in Ayo now. So there's going to be a lot of activities. So get your kids engaged. It's not always about what's it called, video games. Since they've been doing video game, I don't even know how to use the controller. So get them off what they're comfortable with. Let them be uncomfortable with certain things to impact their lives. I always say that it's important for everybody to know what their purpose and vision is in life. Our children, whether we like it or not, they're living our lives because we're the ones paving the way for them. They will need to live their own life eventually. How will they understand their purpose and vision if they don't start somewhere?
Mhm.
Naomi already knows what she wants to do. Fikayo is, doing what he loves to do. You are doing what you love to do. How are we imbibing those skills, those behaviors and activities in our children to make sure that when they get out in the world, they can actually stand? I know my purpose. Encourage your youths to know their purpose and help them to flourish. Because again, you said it's not about grades. Yes, it's about grade, but it's not about grades. It's about how they're touching other people. So I've had some parents, unfortunately, reach out to me and say, can you give them volunteer hours? And my answer is always, no, I can't. Let them come and volunteer. And when you do that for your kids, guess what? You're telling them it's okay to forge things. That's what you're doing. Let them put in the hour. 40 hours is not enough. They should put in much more because they gain presentation skills, communication skills, leadership skills. So all those soft skills that are needed to grow in life. I'll stop there. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Ma. I am very grateful. I just when you were talking now, I remember that Naomi did mention that she volunteers with is it Ontario Young Politicians?
So
Is
it's the
that
Young Politicians of Canada, and I'm our director of equity and inclusion.
okay? So I follow that page as well. We follow it professionally, and I was at an event last week Saturday. It was I think it was called the event was called the Hamilton Youth Conference or something. And I just went there because I wanted to see what was going on with the youth within my community. And I got to find out that we had um, a counselor in Hamilton. His name is Alex Wilson, and is not, I think he's 30 or 31 or 32. I can't remember, but was that young, right? And I was thinking in my head while I sat down and he was talking, and everybody was clapping for him. And I'm like, so why can't we have a young politician within our community, right? There's nothing wrong about it. But the truth is, we won't get them there if we don't put the effort. And one of the efforts that we should be doing right now is getting them out there in the community, because those are the things that would foster the engagement and the interest. But if they're at home, there's just no way. It doesn't work the way it does back home when you have a father or a godfather somewhere that just signs a paper and the next thing your name is on the ballot box. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to make the effort. So please, parents, if you're watching, if you're listening to us now or in the future, let's begin to imbibe the culture of getting our little ones involved within the community where we are. I know we're all busy, we're all trying to make ends meet, we're working very hard to pay our bills and mortgages, but we can also set aside a couple of hours. Let's start from somewhere, especially for the teenagers and the young adults. I'm sure if a young adult or teenager now reached out to Fikayo and say, how can I join? How can I work with you guys? How can I volunteer with you guys? I'm sure Fikayo wouldn't say no. I'm sure we'll be excited to have that child on board, or the young adult or teenager.
I'm excited, though. Reach out.
He's
child, Lady Abba has already given, open door. If you have a child, you want them to participate, please reach out. And LSI, we also will be rolling out some events soon, sometimes in summer into next year, that we will be telling you about, where kids can also come out and volunteer. We want to see our young adults and our teenagers get active within the community they find themselves in. So
Can I
thank
just add something?
you. Please go ahead, Ma.
In terms of the politics, uh, just for the benefit of everybody watching, the next municipal election is actually in 2026, October. So we have maybe about 1.5 years to go. And you're right. There's nothing wrong in our youths going in as counselors, and this is the time to actually start it. And counselors are actually part-time positions. They can still do their job and still be counselors. It will surprise you the number of votes that is required for somebody to be a counselor. It's less than 3,000. Because we're looking into it. I live in Milton. We're already, doing our groundwork to see who can represent us. And if we don't do it, nobody's going to do it. We keep saying that we don't have a seat at the table. When are we going to have a seat at the table when we don't show up? We need to show up. Yes, in where we come from, we tend to move away from politics. But here, if you're not part of the politics, if you're not part of the conversation, your community will be left behind. So, just do something. Let's do something. Let's look within and start grooming those young people to take charge of. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. I think our 1 hour is up. Anyone with any last words before we say bye and allow everyone go do their thing? We know it's Saturday and there's a lot of activities going on out in Naomi. We can't.
I just wanted to plug the Young Politicians of Canada is actually hosting a networking event for.
Please go ahead.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Can you hear us? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I just want to say the Young Politicians of Canada is actually hosting a Young Future Leaders Gala. It's an upcoming networking event. We invite youth, we invite parents. It'll be at Hart House at University of Toronto. And if you check out Young Can Paul on Instagram, all the information to purchase a ticket is on there, and there's also a promo code as well.
Thank you so much. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Yes. Kayo, do you have any other?
Yes.
Words?
So the last few words is I'll tell everyone on this call, right? Both young and old, live for something bigger than yourself. Don't just live for yourself alone. Live for something bigger than yourself, and also choose to be excellent in everything you do. And what excellent means, because everybody is always speaking about excellence, but what excellent means is just the determination to surpass ordinary standards. That's what excellence is, right? Determination to surpass ordinary standards. And then this one has helped me a lot in life. Comfort is the enemy of achievement, right? So if you want to achieve great things in life, that comfort zone you're in is not going to allow you get there, right? What else? Okay. Purpose plus passion makes you unstoppable. Purpose plus passion makes you unstoppable. That's another one. And there's another one I always say, there's something I always say, opportunity plus preparation equals success. Yeah, opportunity plus preparation equals success. Yeah. And I always say the best is yet to come. And when you let your light shine, you give others the permission to do the same. So remember that.
Thank you so much, everyone. I especially want to say a big thank you. I always love to adore my LSI ambassadors, because these are youths within the community that they just use their extra time to help their peers. Like Naomi just did a review, an excellent review, resume review for one of the individual that reached out, a young adult that reached out to us in the community and said, I need someone to help me with my resume. Thank you so much for all you guys do. I love you dearly. And to say thank you to Lady Abba and Fikayo. It was a very short notice. It was about a week that I reached out to both of you, and you were gracious enough to come on board with us today without any hassles. You didn't give me any problem. You didn't ask for anything. Thank you so much. We're so grateful. I hope we're able to continue to work together for the betterment of our community, and particularly my passion, the youth. And thank you for everyone that joined us today and those that would watch this later. Have a good, wonderful rest of your day, and bye, everyone.
Thank you for having us. Bye, everyone. God
Bye.
bless you.
Thank you. Bye.